Joining us now is Annie Anieze Osakwe with stories trending around the world. Hello, Annie.
Hello, good morning. Dr. Abati. Hi, all. It's so nice to finally meet you.
Lovely to meet you as well. I've been watching, and just fantastic to see you do what you do really
thank you.
Beautifully. Thank
Keeping
you.
the seat warm for Auchi
Very
until she gets
warm,
back.
yes, very warm.
Rufai, my twin.
The pride, that's where twin is. The pride of Ogidi.
We're ready. We're here. Monday.
Yeah. Go ahead, Monday.
Let's go.
Go ahead.
So, good morning to everyone out there watching. Thank you all for starting your day and your week with us. Happy Monday. So we start what's trending today with the first words the public is hearing from Comfort Emmanson, the Ibom Air passenger who was violently removed from a plane after the airline said she refused to switch off her phone. Well, for the first time, she's finally telling her side of the story. In a new video posted late last night, Emmanson says the issues really started because the power button on her phone didn't work and she needed help from the air hostess to turn it off. She then talks about how everything escalated so quickly and how she eventually felt violated.
God knows that I can never go and poke an elderly woman, somebody that's old enough to be my mom, poke her. For what? Poke her. It was the pain she inflicted on me, the frontal pain, dragging my gold and everything on the floor. That was the anger. I was so angry. I could not even hold it. That was why I was asking her, why did you do that on the video, the trending video they posted? Why did you do that? Why did you do that? I asked her, why did you do? Because you dragging my frontal wig, dragging me, calling me a prostitute at the process. No, I just had to ask her, why did you do that? Why did you do that? That was why I poked her on the video. Why did you do that? So while on that, the whole thing, those guys came inside the aircraft and started surrounding me, and I was like, why? Now dragged me outside. That was when they dragging me from you saw how they dragged me from the video. That was what happened. They came inside, dragged me outside, and then at the process, she now dragged my clothes, and the clothes, it was pin on me because it was pin. I thought that was my inner. It was pin on me. The pain of dragging it and its pain.
So in this video, she also talks about how she can't really go out in public anymore because people are recognizing her, how difficult it's been for her since her release. And we're also hearing these conversations around the economics of this, reports about how people are offering her plots of land, trips, a new phone. Dr. Abati, I'll start with you. How are you reacting to all this? Because it's really the first time that we're finally hearing from her.
Well, I think it's a good thing that she's going through the process of healing. Apparently, she was traumatized by that experience. Over the weekend, there was a report that somebody had gone to file a suit on her behalf and all that, but she said no, she did not, that person is not a lawyer, she has her own lawyer, and if she is going to take any steps, it will be a particular lawyer whom she named. Second, she said, well, she's willing to cooperate with the investigators to present properly our own side of the story. But definitely, she deserves all the support she's getting, not the ones offering land and all that, but those who have expressed concern about the violation of our fundamental human rights. And I hope that the regulatory authorities involved in this matter would be encouraged to conclude the investigations that they say they are carrying out. This shouldn't just stop at the level of drama. We would like to know what the regulatory authorities come up with at the end of the day and what the definite conclusions are, particularly with regard to the Kwamwan incident and Ms. Comfort Emmanson's case. Because initially there was a lot of drama. The Minister of Aviation took a number of decisions just to ensure that there is no confusion around this space that is leading. But there are issues that will still have to be resolved, particularly the one about training sessions for airline personnel, which the minister referred to, and then the investigation by the parties involved. Now, as for the stigmatization, well, that's very unfortunate, but I think Ms. Emmanson should not take that as some kind of major negative thing. Because in fact, if anything, this particular incident turned her into, a hero of sorts. Well, a lot of people now saying, look, this is how these airlines behave. This is how some hostesses behave. And, I've seen a lot of people showing affection. I'm not talking about the men who are offering hotel accommodation and trips to Doha and Qatar, the objectives of which may be suspicious. But I'm talking about, genuine expression of concern. So I do not think that she has suffered any loss of face within the community. If anything, she has become a celebrity in spite of herself. There was one other thing that I read, however, that I found a bit uncomfortable. This was the father, granting an interview and saying that he too must be compensated. That is it because he's a poor man that they will expose their daughter's nudity in public, and that they should not treat poor people like that, and that he should be compensated because of the way they have treated his daughter. I want to believe that he was misquoted. So if he was not misquoted, please, he should just keep his peace. Allow the daughter and other people to deal with the issues. This has nothing to do with his own poverty. That's not the subject here. And we should not, drop the ball in terms of focus.
Absolutely. Rufai.
I would just like to say some things. See, and I'm happy that we took our time to hear all sides of the story. Because it's so easy for people to use propaganda to deceive people in society. The airline originally did use propaganda by posting one side of the story. It's turned out, or whoever posted, because the airline has denied that they didn't post it. But whoever posted it, which was a video taken around where the airline hostess and the airline crew had a higher level of influence and made it public, they used propaganda to deceive a lot of people. It was one side of the story they told with this. But if not for the fact that they sent her to jail and there were a lot of people that reacted, or they sent her to prison for a bit and a lot of people reacted, and we started to hear other sides of the story, then we'll not get to the end of the matter. In fact, even before she said this, several witnesses on the flight have corroborated her story by saying that when the air hostess did come to her and say, turn off, she said, what is it called?
Settings in general.
Our buttons are not working fine on the phone. And she even told the air hostess, can you help me do it? And the air hostess got rude. And after the flight, when they arrived at their destination, before they alighted, she went to the bathroom and all of this ensued. And we all saw how that air hostess stood in front of the door. So, like I said before, Ibom Air will have to put that air hostess up for investigation. I still feel to a large extent that she should sue because it was a deliberate attempt to shame her. There was no reason why their hands went to her breast in the first place, why they pulled out her inner. It was a deliberate attempt to shame her. And after doing that, disgraced her, put her breast in public, they now filmed the only part that showed where she was reacting. You cannot hit me and expect me not to react.
This is early morning TV.
I'm sorry.
Mammary glands.
Mammary glands, whatever.
Vital assets.
Whatever, vital assets. No, let's say it the way it is. Because it's very painful. You cannot hit me and expect me not to react. After they had hit her, they had provoked her within not only her assets, they even went further with her wig, because as at the time she was fighting back, her wig was already pulled off.
Right.
So they had triggered her within. The air hostess had done her job. Then she called for cover and started filming. And you pulled her down and you hurt her. So Ibom Air, I still feel this case was taken up. This is not to exonerate the fact that she also did slap the air hostess. But as at the time where the air hostess is saying, you are slapping me, you had instigated the fight. And you had treated her in a very appalling way. And now you were quick to say, you are slapping me, so that you look vindicated. She too must be penalized for that slap. But you can't trigger somebody without getting away with it. This is not fair.
For that slap, if she was provoked, I don't know what you say about that. If you
Okay, yes,
because if she was provoked and it was in self-defense, then she has a case. Because if you're slapping somebody, if somebody had done that to you and you retaliated in self-defense, that's something totally different. But I'm so glad that I have the opportunity to speak about this because I've been following, this story since it started. And of course, let me speak as someone who's impartial and also as a woman, because I know that a lot of people go through this. It's the culture of shame and humiliation. When you do something wrong, the first thing they want to do is to attack your person. First of all, she was called a prostitute, so it's a very easy insult for a lot of Nigerian women. You do something, you say you don't want to buy something from a vendor anymore, they say, Ashawo, get out. You say you don't want to do something, Ashawo. In fact, after a while, it becomes almost a compliment. So it's a culture of shame and humiliation that must end as part of our culture here in Nigeria. And then the second part is that I think we should stop comparing her and calling her Kwamtu, because the situations now that she has come out to express herself are vastly different. In one instance, he was resisting doing what was right in terms of aviation security. In this instance, she wasn't. She asked for help, and it was the high-handedness of the air hostess that brought her to this situation. So it wasn't like she was resisting. She's not Kwamtu. It was just a situation that was badly managed because of the cultural thing of older, younger, who are you to talk to me, who are you not to talk to me. I agree that there should be a customer service training for all airport staff, because it's not just Ibom Air. A lot of people who have traveled either locally or even sometimes even internationally, depending on the flight you take, want to see how we are treated. You pay money to be humiliated. That is really sad as a nation. Now, going to the fact as to whether or not her face, she saved face, or the exposure of her personal assets, on whether or not she's received a lot of compensation does not hold water. If you were me, and you give me $100 million or whatever, but you expose me in such a manner, there's no amount of compensation for that. To say that, because I'm now famous, it's embarrassing. That's not the kind of fame that I want. It's embarrassing. And like she mentioned in the video that she released, it's beyond now, it's her future. The internet never forgets. Yeah. Her children will Google her name and see. Her children's friends in school will mock her children potentially for this. How do you pay money for this kind of thing? So it's a culture that must be addressed, and also a culture that must change. How do we change this systematically? How can we report this? And that is why there must be punishment for everyone involved, not just the air hostess, but every single person who was there and did nothing that was an official. The people who yanked her off the flight and carried her and manhandled her ought to be brought to book. We can see their faces in the video. And then finally, I would like to land on this point, because enough people have talked about this. Why is it that as a people, we don't know how to protect ourselves? How many others were on that flight and saw what was meted out to that woman and did nothing and just walked past? It's like the story of the Samaritan. Nigerians will just look and walk past. If you are being slapped by somebody that is wrong, why do we have that culture? So it's to sensitize people on different levels. But just to say that Ibom Air has a case to answer. I'm glad she's spoken out, and that we must find a way to change the culture of the way we see customers and how we treat ourselves as people in this nation. We're too angry, and there's a lot of lawlessness that goes by without people doing anything.
Just a footnote. The people who should be punished, because you recommended a list, add to that list all the men who looked at that video twice, thrice. Some looked at it 10 times. They too must be identified.
I agree.
And punished.
Even the men. Dr. Abbas, even the men that shared it on many WhatsApp groups.
Yes.
Everybody.
All the men that looked at it more than once, they are all guilty.
They're all guilty.
A poor girl, turn her into a
Can you imagine?
No, it's
so sad.
Okay, moving on. Let's now go to Auchi in Edo State, because now the Catholic Diocese there is confirming the kidnapping of 2 young seminarians from the Immaculate Conception Seminary, saying it's been over 35 days since they were kidnapped back in July. So it comes with this new video going around social media. The Director of Communications of the diocese confirms that these are the same students who were kidnapped and that this video is authentic. You can see them there carrying what looks like human skulls, begging for their release while surrounded by people holding guns. So now the diocese is calling on the state and federal government to do what's needed to bring these children back as soon as possible.
The Diocese of Auchi is calling on the President of Nigeria, Senator Ahmed Tinubu, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the Governor of Edo State, Senator Monday Okpebolo, the Senators of Edo State, the National Assembly, and indeed all security agencies to work to release our seminarians from the hands of the kidnappers, and also to secure our people, particularly in Edo North, where our people feel helpless, frustrated, and abandoned by the government that they have put in place.
And we hear so many stories of kidnapping across the country, but it's always especially troubling when you actually see the faces of the people or the kids involved. And Ayo, I think I'll start with you on this. Just what's your reaction to this story and that video that we just saw?
It's so sad that we're coming from one bad story to another bad story, but this is the situation that we find ourselves here in Nigeria. So we've been following the story with these kidnapped seminarians, and the fact that there's now been an appeal for their release. In fact, what he said is that in that it's Edo North side of that, the kidnapping has become rampant, and the people are almost at the mercy of kidnappers. So beyond the story of this young, helpless future of Nigeria, let me put it that way, are the stories of others. I've brought a story here sometimes of another NYSC student who was kidnapped, and the parents had to pay ransom despite the calls to security agents. And that's why I said earlier this morning that while we celebrate one part, when we're talking about the DSS story, terrorism, security challenges, while we celebrate one aspect, it cannot be celebrated in isolation. Until Nigerians feel safe to go out and about their duties, we cannot just say, oh, well done, and keep going. This is horrific. Number one is that kidnapping has become a big industry in Nigeria. We have to face facts. Number two is that we need to have a strategic way to address this menace, which we unfortunately haven't seen. In fact, if you call some security operatives, they'll tell you, they almost sound helpless, and so you have to sort yourself out or find the money. And as long as kidnappers find this industry lucrative in such a way that they keep getting the ransom, we will not see the end of this. This situation is one we'll continue to see more and more of this. So my appeal this morning, in joining my voice to this young innocents, is that please, can we find a way to get them out of the kidnappers' den? Then even more importantly, can we find a way to secure our young people and adults so that we can walk freely and not be afraid of kidnappers who brazenly take on their industry and find it lucrative in order to continue doing it without punitive measures or any sort of consequence. So that's why it keeps thriving until we find a solution to this.
Absolutely. So moving on to our next story, right now the Chinese embassy in Nigeria is investigating allegations from 12 Nigerian workers who were just rescued from the Central African Republic after the workers said that the Chinese company that they worked for sexually abused them and refused to pay their salaries. So the Chinese embassy here says they're taking these allegations seriously, adding that their government requires all Chinese citizens abroad to comply with the laws of their host countries. The reaction comes after the Nigerian workers that you see in this video detailed their experience, saying they were abused, they were starved, and they weren't paid by the Chinese mining company that they worked for.
Molested by Chinese. Let me repeat it.
Say it where? In Bangui?
Yeah, in the site there. And they are in Nigeria now, and they were unjustly relieved of their duty when they complained. I'm talking about 3 Nigerians and 1 Cameroonians.
So they even recalled one incident when they were left stranded in the forest in the Central African Republic after work with no money, harsh conditions. Dr. Bati, I'll start with you on this. What's standing out to you in this story?
We've had too many cases of Chinese companies treating people badly, working for them, turning them into slaves, whether it's in Central African Republic, as in this case, or even here in Nigeria. So as it is in Nigeria, so it is elsewhere. Now, the gentleman who is the spokesperson for the 12 persons who were rescued by the Nigerian authorities, his name is Freeborn. But this is a freeborn who has been subjected to slavery conditions, which is against the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Nobody should be treated as a slave, not even a worker or any ordinary person whatsoever. It is therefore good to hear that the Nigerian authorities, namely the Nigerian mission in Bangui, the Nigerian Diaspora Commission, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, when these people cried out to the Nigerian government for help, that the Nigerian government responded and helped to rescue them and relocate them. So, commendation for all the government agencies involved in this, including the Nigerian mission in Bangui that coordinated the operation. NITCOM, as promised, through its Director General, its chairperson, Abike Dabiri Irewa, that, these people will be given financial support, to allow them to settle down. We hope that will happen because, as you know, in many cases of this nature, when they rescue Nigerians from trouble zones and they come home, they spend, a few weeks, they run back to where they were rescued from, because many Nigerians will say, home is not enabling enough. So you find a lot of Nigerians engaging in whether legal or illegal migration because the conditions at home are not conducive enough. There are many more who we hear that they have jobs in Burundi and they will go there. There are others who hear, there is work in Eastern DRC and they will go there, even when they know that there is war in Eastern DRC. So this is the challenge that we face. So to help them relocate, to rehabilitate them. But the more important point is to ensure that those Chinese authorities in the Central African Republic, that the collaboration with the Nigerian embassy here is done to ensure that they are brought to book and that the rights of these persons, where those rights have been violated, they get compensated for those violations.
Culture will eat strategy for breakfast. I say that every time. Dr. Abati, newsflash, nothing, go and write it down, will be done to those Chinese authorities. They will continue. They'll continue to violate people. And people will continue to leave their country to go there. Because you know what it means to go to Central African Republic, where Anti-Balaka and Seleka fought for so many years? It's a terrible zone. And most of the mining are even illegal in the first place. So it's not over only in Central African Republic. It's even here within. There's an extensive report done by Premium Times that I've quoted many times of how illegal mining goes on here. People ship across Kwara State. Nothing is happening. You know why? Because of level of poverty, the fact that we cannot provide for our citizens, they will go. And kudos to the Nigerian authorities that have rescued them. Where is going to be the follow-up? I asked the Nigerian authorities, they should show me the phone numbers and show us that they're still in contact with all of the girls that I rescued from Abidjan. You know, I did that story. I was the one that interviewed those girls in Abidjan. Where are they today? What did they give them? So when they say you've resettled them financially, how much is the money? It amounts to nothing.
Well, we don't know the amount.
Dr. Abati.
Possibly $100,000 each.
Which $100,000 each?
That's the going rate.
Dr. Abati,
that's the going
please
rate.
Quote me anecdotal evidence from what I hear from people. The money sometimes never up to 100,000 naira. Less than that. And they are giving.
But there is a going rate.
And they are giving. No, that's for people that do it. That's for athletes. And they are giving.
They didn't win any sports.
And they are giving this money. Because see, I extensively also spoke to the Nigerian community in Abidjan. Apart from covering the story. So when they give them that money, they just give them, okay, go and settle your life. What will less than 100,000 naira do for them to resettle their lives? So it's a big problem. And that's why you see, once they come back like that, like you said rightly, they are finding their way to go back. The Chinese authority here, the ambassador will just say, okay, we've heard. We've heard. Nothing gets done about it. It's an economic situation. Right. So as long as you don't empower your people there, talk about it, this same country that Nigerians used to work in Nigeria and do well and go and buy homes in the UK. This same Nigeria that Nigeria will go and school abroad in the 70s and decide to come back to their country because their country was better then. This is the same country everybody wants to live. Were Nigerians willing to leave this country in the 70s? No.
I don't want to leave.
It's economy.
I'm here.
It's economy.
We are in it
You are an
together.
outlier. You are an elite man now. You are an outlier.
Even the elites are running away.
Even the elites are running away. Dr. Abati, I know many billionaires in this country. I don't stay in this country again. Your famous billionaires in this country, they don't live in this country again. What are we saying? These are the billionaires. They have everything within their beck and call.
Those ones are not patriots.
Oh.
We the patriots are here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'm here, but still here.
We're
I'm
also
not planning
here.
to go anywhere.
All of us. Okay.
This is our country. You push me,
we
I
must
push
excel.
them, and on they go.
Okay, yeah, so.
Okay.
But we could make them better.
So now to our first milestone, with the governor of Kebbi State, Nasir Idris, announcing the death of the Emir of Zuru, Major General Muhammadu Sani Sami, at 81 years old. The chief press secretary to the governor confirming the news just yesterday. Sami was a former governor of Bauchi State during Buhari's regime from 1984 to 1985, and he was appointed Emir of Zuru in 1995 after retiring from active military service. And he held that position for 30 years until his passing, and as a traditional ruler, he was regarded for his efforts in promoting peace, stability, and development in his emirate. May his soul rest in peace. And for our other milestone, the country and President Bola Ahmed Tinubu are celebrating the 84th birthday of the former military president, General Ibrahim Babangida, also known as IBB. In a statement, President Tinubu celebrated the former military president on his birthday, saying that his 8-year term from 1985 to 1993 significantly impacted Nigeria both socioeconomically as well as politically. He rose up the ranks of the army, then ultimately became commander-in-chief of the armed forces. President Tinubu also noting how his military administration can be remembered in investing in infrastructure like the third mainland bridge, which to this day is still the second longest bridge in Africa. He also created a number of states and moved the capital from Lagos to Abuja. And I don't know, how much time we have for this, but maybe Rufai, do you want to just talk very briefly about?
Happy birthday to
General Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida, 17th of August. He marks his 84th birthday. As regards Babangida's legacy is always, variegated, if I can use that word. There are many sides to his legacy. But in all of this, yes, for some of the things he had done, for some of the things he didn't do right, he wrote a book recently, that is his pattern, that's a great pattern shot, to a lot of Nigerians, that is also a book that a lot of Nigerians can reflect on. And he took responsibility for some of the things he had done. And definitely his legacy will constantly be, debated either way. So happy birthday to him. Wish him many, many more strong years. The general and the impact he has been doing. Because at the book launch, there was also a talk about him starting a library. We can't wait for him to get that library started so that it will also be a point where a lot of people can learn from, because I'm always very chuffed about libraries. I love libraries and I love the advancements of education.
Love that. So now let's end with some good news. With National Security Advisor Nuri Ribadu announcing a significant win for the federal government in the fight against terrorism. Ribadu revealing that the military managed to capture 2 top leaders of Ansaru, which is Nigeria's Al-Qaeda affiliate. According to Ribadu, these 2 men had been on Nigeria's most wanted list for years, but they were also internationally wanted as well. He also said that they were the ones responsible for the 2022 Kuje prison break, where well over 800 prisoners were freed.
This feat undoubtedly exemplifies Nigeria's advancing counter-terrorism capabilities. The precision operation followed months of deep surveillance, human intelligence, and technical tracking, which demonstrate enhanced sophistication and seamless interagency synergy.
And, you know, we don't have time to discuss it, but that was a major feat for the federal government.
Yes, a major feat, a significant achievement, and we have commended both the National Security Advisor and the Director General of the Department of State Services and all the security agencies who have made this possible. But the story in Edo State of the 2 young seminarians just shows that government still needs to do a lot more. Nobody should be abducted in this country. Nobody should be at the mercy of the kinds of the likes of the Mahmuda, the Ansaru, or any Al-Qaeda affiliate that may be operating in any part of Nigeria. Well, thank you very much, Annie.
Thank you.
We look forward to seeing you tomorrow.